Donald Trump pardoned former Blackwater contractors who had been convicted of an unprovoked massacre in Iraq back in 2007. That led to the deaths of 14 civilians, innocent people, including 2 children, one 9 and the other 11. While non-sociopathic people have a problem with Trump pardoning these murderers, Pete Hegseth on Fox News decided to give Trump kudos. Let's watch.
The president did for those Blackwater contractors. It's been described as a massacre. What it was is the fog of a moment where they were doing their job to protect State Department employees in one of the most dangerous parts of Baghdad at one of the most dangerous moments. A lot of the evidence totally mischaracterized, mishandled by Iraqis, many of which had ties to insurgents. They were tried in a civilian court, which has no connection to what it's like to be in that war. They volunteered to be there. And a huge credit to the commander-in-chief, who there's no upside to a call like this other than sending a signal to our warfighters, whether you're a contractor or in uniform, we're going to have your back when you make tough calls on the battlefield, much like some of the pardons he gave for other members of the military before. So kudos, from my perspective, to the president for doing what he did for those Blackwater contractors.
So you heard it here. Pete Hegseth thinks that the only upside to this is that it communicates to mercenaries, murderers for hire, that the American government has your back if you decide to open fire indiscriminately and kill 2 children and 12 other adults who are completely innocent civilians.
Yeah,
he sees that as an upside.
He's being honest, at least, in that it does send a signal, and they want that signal to be sent. And look, when we say, I don't know, is it even considered like, is it even like on the line when I say that they actively want more people to be killed, whether it's immigrants crossing the border or people in the Middle East, that they actively are bloodthirsty for that? I don't think it is. I mean, they supported Donald Trump, who is a guy who was constantly calling for more killed civilians, saying that we're gonna track down the families of terrorists and kill them, that we're gonna loosen the rules of engagement. All of this is designed to kill more people, more civilians especially. So yeah, they want to send that signal. Pete Hegseth probably considers himself to be pro-life or whatever, at least wants to present himself that way. He is a defender of and advocate for war criminals, explicit war criminals. Not even like in this case where he says like there were ties to insurgents. There were children who were killed. None of them had any weapons. Oh, and it was in a civilian court. How that's unacceptable that our soldiers would be held to the same sorts of account for murdering, for massacring civilians that anyone else would. It's effectively in a war. It's in a war situation, but it's an act of terrorism against civilians. That is what happened there. But he's going to defend them in the same way. Again, he defended the guy who murdered a prisoner with a knife, stabbed someone to death, not in combat. They weren't locked in hand to hand. There was a person over there, he grabbed the knife, he went over, he killed the person. And Pete Hegseth could not defend this guy enough. He wanted him to be free to go out there, to live his life and possibly end others again.
Yeah, and remember, I believe it was a Navy SEAL who did that. He then proceeded to pose in pictures with the dead body of the prisoner that you're referring to. And yeah, Pete Hegseth was on the record multiple times defending that soldier. And I want to remind everyone that after this massacre took place in 2007, military personnel showed up and they found overwhelming evidence that people were fleeing this indiscriminate shooting by these mercenaries, indicating that they were not actually serving as any type of imminent threat to these mercenaries. Prosecutors noted that they used machine guns, sniper fire, and grenade launchers. In the trial that Hegseth seems to be very critical of, please note that there were 30 witnesses who testified against these Blackwater contractors, and also an FBI investigation looked into this and found that 14 out of the 17 deaths, civilian deaths, were unjustified according to the rules of engagement for security contractors in Iraq. So based on our own FBI's investigation, they found that the actions that took place by these mercenaries were unlawful and that they should face the consequences for that. But Hegseth doesn't think so, Donald Trump doesn't think so. And just think about the type of message this sends to private military contractors who currently get hired to provide security in the endless wars that we engage in. This is a complete and utter disaster. And I just don't want to hear right-wingers ever tell me that they're pro-life again, because they're absolutely full of it. Evidence shows over and over again that they don't care about life. They don't care about human life abroad. They don't care about human life here in the United States as people are dying on the streets because of homelessness and the lack of income necessary to live a healthy and decent life in this country. They don't care about anyone other than themselves, other than deregulation, other than tax cuts. And I'm so sick of them pretending as if they're the moral ones with the moral high ground. They are not. All they want to do is punish people for living their personal lives the way that they see fit. They want to punish women for making decisions about their own bodies. And they use all of this nonsense, garbage about how they're pro-life, when again, the facts don't bear that out.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.